Warren, next time you're late, I might not forgive you, his wife said, in that sweet murmur. Her finger traced circles on his bare chest as they laid in each other's arms on the bed. The night was dark, the moon was lit brightly, and after a long time, Jungkook found peace. After his relentless days spent in the underworld, seeing nothing but blood, doing nothing but killing, and signing nothing but debt contracts, he was finally home. By his wife's side, who was nothing but an angel to his demon, light to his darkness. One, 7 days. You're showing me your face after 7 days, she complained, her eyes streaked and a frown adorned her brows. Despite the land of hell he returned from, she was the only woman he bowed to. It's okay, it was hell without you. I don't know how I survived. She snickered happily at his comment and immediately forgave him for everything. His body was filled with scars from war, training, and tattoos made to hide them, yet his peace was this harmless woman. One, I forgave you because you brought me a lot of gifts and flowers, but they won't work next time. I'm going to chain you up in the room and never let you leave. JK, please do that. That was the thing about him. Nothing ever worked on him. Vine sighed and shifted closer to her, melted against his chest, while her arms stayed around her body, providing her his warmth and protection. It didn't take her long before she drifted off to sleep. Jungkook had an ability. He could see future. It was nothing he could see on its own. In fact, he had visions. They came at random times, but they were always true. Most of the times he knew what his enemy was planning on doing. The other times he could avoid tragedies. Although he had no idea where this power came from, but Jungkook used it to its best, knowing the future had always helped him. With his extremely high IQ and combat abilities, he was always able to bring himself to the top, the most feared, powerful, inevitable. But if it was a gift, it was also a curse. Because he didn't only see enemies die, he saw everyone, and nothing haunted him more than the visions that came for her. Tonight, he had almost convinced himself that he could rest. The silk sheets smelled faintly of her perfume. His queen tugged into him with no fear. His lips brushed against her hairline. For a moment, the world felt almost normal, almost safe. And then it happened. It was never gentle. His visions tore through his skull like glass shattering, flooding his mind with images too fast, too vivid. He saw her, his wife, standing on the side of the road in daylight, a car skidding too fast, tires screaming, her eyes widening, the crack of impact. Jungkook's body jolted violently and she stirred. Her eyes blinked open lazily, confusion softened in her eyes as she looked up at him. Wine, cook? What's wrong? Her voice was sleepy, warm. His chest rose and fell sharply, his pupils blown wide with terror. For a moment he couldn't answer. He could still hear it, the sickening sound of the car hitting her body. Jungkook turned his back at her, dug his face in his hands. JK, nothing. Go back to sleep. One side up. The silk sheet slid off her body as she placed her hands on his bare, scarfless back. Vine, did you have vision again? Was it that bad? Jungkook didn't reply, and Vine wrapped her arms around his trembling body. Right, it was not only a blessing. Those powers were a curse all along. A curse that could bring such a powerful man to this state. Vine, I'm here. Once you calm down, I'll be here to listen. Her angelic voice cut through his demons. The terrifying scream slowly replaced by his soft melody, but those visions would not stop. They were strong, and it killed him inside. After some time, Jungkook turned, took her in his arms, and tightened his grip. It's okay. It won't happen. I won't let it. It was a promise, a curse, a prayer. The days that followed were unbearable. Jungkook became her shadow. If she stepped into the kitchen, he was already there, leaning against the counter with arms crossed. If she grabbed the knife, he would snatch it and do it all himself. He followed her everywhere, even within the estate, and going out of the home, that was a straight up no. He hired extra guards, doubled the surveillance, installed cameras in places she didn't even realize at first. Once she heard what his vision was about, Wine consoled him, and she was suffocating. Wine, I don't want you to suffer alone, and I won't let you live in fear. Wine put up with him. For days and days, they were caged in a home. Jungkook had stopped going to work. Wine wasn't allowed to step out. She would try to reason with him, but it had been a long time. It had started to suffocate her. For how long were they supposed to continue this? Months? Years? Or their whole life? The vision never told him when they would come true. They didn't have a specific time they could move past the vision. Then, for how long? Slowly, things started to tire Wine. Okay, she told him she would not go out as long as he said, but he was insufferable even at home. Vine promised. She tried. She truly, truly tried to put up with him, but he was being too much even after all the time passed. She waited days for him to calm down, but his obsession and protectiveness only got worse. He wouldn't let her use her hair tools in case she burned herself. She wasn't allowed to even enter the library alone. He wouldn't let her water the plants alone. What would happen with those things? Was some kind of final destination playing that had him wonder watering plants is going to take her life? It was becoming suffocating. Jungkook's body would still tremble at the glimpse of the vision, and Wine would still try to calm him down. But then it happened on an ordinary afternoon. Ryan received a call. Her mother had a heart attack and was taken to the hospital in an emergency. She lost her control and senses. I need to go, is all she said. Jungkook's mind spun. That vision, which had started to blur, appeared as clear as ever once again. It made him dizzy. His ears blurred at the sound of her scream, and his body shivered at the sensation alone. Why now? Why? The accident happened during the day. He remembered as much. Could he ask her to wait till night? Even after he knew she was being patient with him, could he still ask her to wait when her mother was in such a critical state? Jake, fine. I. He choked and pulled his hair. All his reasoning and voice aged, leaving him when it came to her. One was in a complete tatters, and he hated how he couldn't comfort her, how he couldn't man up and console her. One, Jungkook, please, I'm sorry. I know it's hard for you, but you can't ask me to stay now. Jake, I'm staying with you the whole time. He was there. He needed to protect her. He was going to change the future if that required him to keep her safe. They both got in the car. Mine's hand was trembling from the shocking news. She wanted to be there as soon as she could. Jungkook held her hand. He was driving himself. He didn't trust anyone with wine at this moment. Then the car came to a stop. It stopped working in the middle of nowhere. Something like this have ever never happened before. Wine, what happened? Where did it stop? Normally this sort of thing would annoy Jungkook to the extent of spilling blood, but he knew what was going on here. Fate was a strong thing. He had fought fate since he was a child. Again and again, he was told how much power the fate held. The security detail had followed closely. The car stopped behind him. One of their car walked up to them, knocked at the window before Jungkook rolled it down. God, apologies for the inconvenience. Please exchange the car and continue to the hospital. Jungkook hated the concept of wine getting down onto the road, especially during the day. He stepped close to her, got her down, and kept her hand tightly in his grasp and walked up to the security car that stood right behind theirs. There was hardly any distance between both cars. There was no place for accidents to take place. There was no possibility for it. This was supposed to be the case, but then why? Why the fate had to be so cruel? A car came rolling towards them at full speed. A sports car, racing on the road full of ordinary cars. It lost its balance, rolled over, and flew directly at them. Despite the fact the visions had Jungkook's mind clouded, the years of experience in Battlefield had his body moving faster than his brain. His body slammed into hers, arms locking around her as he wrenched her backwards. The sound of metal screaming filled the air as the car spun out, skidding where she had been standing a few seconds ago. But fate was cruel. Even as he shielded her, the world titled. His shoulder cracked against the pavement as they went down, and she cried out beneath him. Glass shattered, the car swerved again. A flying shot slicing across her arm, blood blooming bright and red across the skin. Not the full vision, not the death he had seen, but close, too close. The sound of the clash, the sound of her scream, everything was the same, and it made it hard for him to breathe. Jungkook's chest heaved as he hovered over her, his hands trembling as they gripped her face, her blood staining his fingers. His eyes were wide, black with rage and terror. His lips pressed desperately against her forehead, her cheek, anywhere he could reach. He pulled out a handkerchief from his pocket and wrapped it tightly around her wound to stop her from bleeding. He wasn't the Jungkook the world knew. The composed, the calm, the terrific. This was the curse he was born with, a curse disguised as a blessing, which had him lose his abilities to stay calm in such a moment. One, Jungkook, you're hurt. You cracked your shoulder. Take it. I'll get you to the doctor. Does it hurt? I'm sorry, just bear it a little. One cried and held his shirt tightly, which teared his heart apart. Jake, hey, it will be better soon. I'll help you. One, is it over? The accident. We survived. He halted. That panic, that fear, the anxiety, it all suddenly died at her words. Was it finally over? Jungkook's eyes shifted towards the car, the reason behind the accident. Now that he focused, it was the same car he saw in his vision. It was over. They fought against the fate and won. Jungkook pulled her in his embrace and dug her face in his neck, so tightly. His shoulder had cracked, but he couldn't care in that moment. She was alive. He had her in his arms, alive and breathing. We're safe call from the hospital. Mrs. Kim is out of danger and her condition has stabilized as well. Sir, shall I call the doctor at home or would you like to visit the hospital? One exhaled in relief. That burden was finally off her chest. Wine, home. Let's go home. Jungkook nodded at the car and kissed Wine's head. Wine, I know you must be sick of home, but you're not leaving until your shoulder heals completely. This is me putting you on a lockdown this time, Jungkook.